everybody, this is Boog Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Star Wars The Black Series Bespin Han Solo figure. So before we take a look at Han Solo, let's take a look at the only accessory that he comes with, his blaster. So, this is just cast in that gunmetal collar, and then painted on, and has that brown painted on the handle there. And that's about all for this. I mean, it doesn't really need anything else. Maybe a wash of silver would have been nice, but that's the only accessory that he comes with. Now, I have found that this does not fit in his holster because if you look, it has some excess plastic right there. So let me lift that up, if I can get it in here. And it only goes down that far. So that's pretty unfortunate. I don't know if all of them are like that because this is the only one I've been able to find. I definitely grabbed him when I saw him because he is, I think him and Princess Leia are the sought-after figures of the wave. But yeah, if I don't want to force it because it probably will break, but that's all the farther mine will go down there. So it will not fit in his holster. It's kind of one of those things too that once you unsnap that right there, it's tough to get it back into place. I wish I would have known that, or I would have just left it like that. So let's go ahead and put the gun in his hand. I also thought it would be good to do a Star Wars review. I hadn't done a Star Wars review in a little bit. Okay, so now let's take a look at the head sculpt of Han Solo. And that is a really good likeness of Harrison Ford. I think that looks really nice. My only problem is there's a bit of glue right there on his sideburns because his hair is a separate piece. So it does kind of look funny. It kind of looks like he's graying the temple right there. So that looks a little funny, but I figure if I mix up the right shade of brown that should be able to just paint over it there. But comparing the head sculpts, here is the original Han Solo figure. This was the Wave 1 Han Solo, and then they re-released him in the 40th anniversary wave. And I thought this was a good likeness at the time. Like, from the side, it really does look like Harrison Ford, but with this face printing tech, it's just so much better. It is definitely a better likeness. And then there's his coat, or is considered a jacket or a coat? I think it's a jacket, considered a jacket. Because it's not like his normal vest. It's actually a jacket, right? Now on mine, his torso here, the joint was very stuck. And it was because of the paint. So when I moved it, it made a snapping noise, and I thought I snapped the joint, but it was actually just the paint right there. So be careful when you get this figure. Of course, it's probably just mine. I'm used to that by now. But definitely be careful because I'm like, oh, I snapped him in half. But it was really just the paint. I don't know how that happened, though, because the only way that I can figure is, and the factory was put on when the paint was still wet, and it just set like that, because I had to snap the paint off there. So that happened on mine. And for his holster here and belt, his belt and holster, it's actually glued down, whereas the previous Han Solo belt that was on the 40th anniversary one was a separate piece. Does this unpeg? Maybe this is just sculpted all together, because I think this, yeah, it looks like it's all one piece now. I thought it was the same thing, but no, because you can see this one is raised up where it can be removed, but this one isn't. So I guess it's the same sculpt and everything. They just made it all one piece now. I do prefer that because it's not loose. It does hinder his right leg's articulation, though, because it's also glued right here on his thigh. I am glad it's glued right here, though. I really am glad about that. But maybe they shouldn't have glued it right there. That way, like, you could have swiveled his leg, because you can only really swivel it that far. So you really can't swivel it that much. And the lines on his pants came out pretty clean. The only one is right here. There's a little bit of a brown scuff right there. I also wanted to point out that he has a dark brown wash over his belt and holster there, and that looks really nice. They did not do that on the Solo Star Wars story Han Solo. They did that on the original Han Solo, though. That would have looked so much better, because this looks really, really plain. But adding that wash over it makes it look really nice. And then there are his boots. I feel like they should have been way glossier than this. But that doesn't bother me. I just feel like they should have been glossy. They do have some sculpt detail to them and some slight texturing, though. So that's nice. And that's about all to go over with this figure. There's not a whole lot with him, but I think it is really nice, and it was definitely must-have for me, because The Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie. So any figure they release from Empire Strikes Back, I have to have. So now let's go over the articulation. Now he is using the Black Series improved articulation, neck articulation, I should say, where it's a ball-jointed head and neck. Let me see if I can pop it out here to show you. It is a ball joint up in his head. Let me just pop it there. Well, actually, I guess it's a barbell joint with the ball joint there. And then ball jointed neck, so I guess it's triple ball jointed. Hold on. Let me try and get this back in his shirt now. It looks really funny because it's made to go in just like that. So it does look really weird when it's out of his shirt there. There. So he has a triple ball joint. He has triple ball joints there. He has a ball jointed head that can look down all the way and up all the way. He can move his head side to side. And with the neck articulation, he can definitely move his head all the way down, all the way up, and can move side to side. So I definitely love that new articulation. I think that's really nice. It gives them a really good range of motion there. Now that looks a little loose now that I took that out. But I wanted to show that during this review because the previous Black Series figures have just been the typical swivel and ball joint. But these are actually, like, all of it is ball jointed. That way he has a lot more range of articulation. He has ball jointed shoulders that can move out very far. He has single jointed elbows that bend in pretty far as well. They do have a really good cut in them, so you can get him doing that. He has swiveled wrists that can move side to side, and a hinge that can move up and down this way. And on his left hand, it's just a standard swivel that swivels side to side and up and down. He has a ball-jointed diaphragm that can move back that far, can crunch forward pretty far, and he can move side to side. He has ball-jointed hips, and his left can move out farther than his right because the holster and the belt is glued down right there. So he can't kick forward that far with that, but he can kick forward all the way with his left leg, and he can kick all the way back. He has swiveled the thigh that really doesn't swivel that much on his right leg, but on his left leg it does. Then he has double jointed knee, swivel at the ankle. Now it is kind of crunchy, so be careful with that too. I did have to boil this figure to loosen him up just a little bit. And then he has an ankle rocker. So overall, I think the articulation is really nice on this figure. It surprised me at the articulation that he had, especially there on the head and neck. So now let's do some size comparisons. Let's get him to stand first. Okay, so first up, here he is to the Star Wars Episode 4 Han Solo, which is also, Series 1 Black Series Han Solo and 40th anniversary. I don't really know what the difference was. I don't think there was a difference. I think it was just a straight up repack for people that didn't get him. But yeah, I would love to see this one redone, but this time with the updated face printing tech and the ball jointed neck and head. That would be nice. I doubt they'll re-release him since this is already a re-release, but that would be nice. That would be really awesome. Here he is next to Solo, A Star Wars Stories Han Solo, and I think Alden Ehrenreich, I hope I'm saying his name right, really looks like a young Harrison Ford. When they first announced him as Han Solo, I was really skeptical, but you could tell this is a young Han Solo. I think they did really good. Of course, the makeup and the hairstylists helped too. But yeah, this definitely looks like a young Han Solo. Here he is next to Princess Leia. And hopefully I can find the Episode 5 Princess Leia figure sometime soon. I've been having lots of luck finding the new Star Wars The Black Series figures at JCPenney of all places. So I just keep checking there because Walmart just has tons and tons of the Solo Wave 1 figures. And finally, here Han is next to Chewbacca. And I would also like to see Chewbacca re-released with the face printing tech. Not because he needs face printing, but I feel like the printing would look a lot better on his fur than the paint. Which the paint shading does look nice, but it's kind of all over the place, you know? When compared to the new figures, I think it would look better. So, overall, I would highly recommend this Han Solo because even though this is from Episode 5, I'd say it's definitely better than the Episode 4 Han Solo because of the face printing tech. The likeness is just really great, and the articulation really surprised me. So, I would highly recommend this figure. So, if you like this review, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share this, and comment down below. So, that's my review. Thanks for watching.